What's going on? I know y'all was excited for that last one, but we ain't gonna let that one ride out. Okay, maybe we'll close it out. What's good, y'all? But good morning, good morning, good morning. I was low key definitely thinking about, what I'm saying, letting it ride out. But then I thought about a good day to going bad. I was like, nah, I don't want the vibes for the day. I'm saying we've had enough of that. But good morning. It's good to see y'all for real, not for play. Y'all know the vibes. Today we are going through chapters 9 and 10. And whoa, if y'all don't know, um, we on this book club every single Saturday, same time, same Zoom. For those of you guys that are watching the recording, hop on, tune in. We got some people that are moving and grooving this morning, so not everybody is here. But shout out to the 9 of us that are here this morning. I appreciate y'all for being here. I appreciate y'all for catching the vibes. So, with that being said, who wants to kick us off this morning? Austin's that mom in the car. Tell mama I said what's good. You know what I'm saying? What's up, mama? I see you, girl. Tune in for book club. The 10 of us. Let's go. Gang out the jungle. It's good to see everybody. Oh, what's going on in the back there? What's popping? I like your shoes. I can't see your face legibly and see who you are.
That's my sister.
Okay, let's go. What's up, sis? What's popping? Welcome to book club, girl. She in the back seat, like, bro, why did you introduce me? I'm just playing. But no, real life, you guys, I am excited just as my kids are, if you can hear them in the background. This book for me has definitely been life changing, and it's been bringing me through this season that I'm in as well. And it's just, as we always say, man, things are just right on time, literally. So I appreciate that truly, wholeheartedly. But I'm gonna kick it off to my boy, even though he driving. I just want to hear his voice and catch his spirit. So, Austin, if you could kick us off this morning, if you got a second, then let's get it cracking, player.
What up, brother? I actually did not read this. Huh?
I was gonna say, don't crash, bro. You could leave it down there on the joint. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, no, you're good. I'm good, I should say. But I apologize. I actually did not read this week. My mind was a bit heavy, so I didn't dive into the book. But I will go at the end if that's all right. I'll give my feedback on what I hear from other people.
Yeah, most def, bro. Most def. Understandable, my man. And congratulations. But I feel like Amber wants to tell us, since her hand's right there. You might as well just unmute. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead, unmute, Amber. You can kick us off this morning. Let's pop.
Can y'all hear me? Because I'm at the no for long. Because I stay full.
Yeah.
But can you hear me well?
Yep.
Okay, great. So I was listening to one of the chapters this morning about the pregnant pause. And what that started to remind me of was just the importance of really allowing ourselves to take our time and to allow the audience to digest the information. And so one of the things that my mentor told me about a year ago, I think, she was like, we have to get really comfortable with long pauses and allowing ourselves to really stay in alignment with our message and not just force something out because we think that they are being impatient or they're waiting for us or this and that. We are setting the tone for the message that we're delivering, and whenever we take our time and we stay in alignment and we allow that message to, honestly, for God to work through that message and not be in a rush, it really allows for not to sound super esoteric, but divine intervention. It really allows that message to seep into their soul and allow them to see themselves in the message and see how it could be practical and how they can allow that message to really yeah. Can we go wash my hands? On the water. Okay, thank you. How we can really allow that message to get into themselves and apply what they're hearing into their everyday life. And so that was something that I really resonated with and that I like to hear. And I've been allowing myself to do that. I can talk really, really fast and I want to hurry up and rush what I say because I'm assuming that they're I don't know, they're not listening to me, or maybe I'm saying something boring or whatever. But really that's not the case. Really, they're taking in so much information that you don't really have time to respond in the moment, so I've been allowing myself to just slow down and be confident in my message, in the silence, and allowing God to do his work. And these calls, having the opportunity to speak consistently, like on these calls, have really helped with that. And giving myself that time to be like, okay, I don't have to rush. I don't have to just bust out all this fire information. Like I could take my time, really be in the moment, and allow it to come through. So that's what I got from the pregnant pause. I really. So the next person I'm gonna click on is Donnie because his mic is off. His mic is on.
What's poppin', everybody? Sorry, y'all. Marcus just woke me up. I don't know.
What happened to basketball?
No getting started. I didn't go. I needed some rest. But boop 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 boop. We're back.
Hey, Don, it's all ball. Every once in a while, you got to get some rest, big dog. You know what I'm saying? I definitely got home and went right to bed, too. So ain't no biggie. But good morning.
Good morning, y'all. Well, all right. Get my butt. Check it. So,
Hey guys, and I want to apologize too. I don't know how I messed this up whenever I was putting the numbers of the chapters in each of the events, but I guess we just skipped over chapter 8. That's my bad.
That's what I thought of it.
I'm so sorry, but I read it, so I'll touch on some things. But on your time, y'all make sure to read it because it's a really good one, and I'm so sorry, you guys. I apologize, but yeah, 8, 9, and 10,
8, 9, and 10.
or just 8, 9, if whatever you read, it's all good.
All right.
I'll fix it.
Ah, chapter 9. Chapter 9. Um, a pregnant pause. That's what it is, right? So, in this, I definitely recognize some of the things that I've unconsciously learned in just through listening to people talk or watching how a lot of high level valued people talk. And in that, I've had to learn through my journey of communication the pausing and slowing down as I talk, because if you know, you know, I used to stutter my words and what is it? I would be thinking faster than I'm speaking. If that makes sense. And so I had to slow down and make sure to start pausing and actually punctuate what it is that I'm saying. And through that, it honestly allowed me to effectively communicate even better. And so when I was reading this, it just was extra confirmation that it's important to sit here and have that punctuation and that pause as you're speaking, especially like Amber was saying, when you're looking to get get a point across, and slowing down in order for who it is that you're speaking with, not to understand what it is that you're saying. And so, yeah, I just read chapter 9. I skipped over chapter 8 as well. But I will catch up on that thing. I've honestly, literally haven't really been reading as much on the books. I just been reading more so the good word, um, every morning. So yeah, I'll go ahead and let go ahead. Who hasn't gone?
The second person, so no one's gone because
Okay. Small. DeAndrew.
I am in the same boat as Austin. I did not read this week, but I'll relax. I know Marquito's read.
I'm late, but I'm here. Hey guys, I'll take it.
What's up, Josh? You got
What's popping? Hope everybody's having a blessed Saturday morning, afternoon. Just to say, when you are doing good, that man is going to attack. So keep your eye out, keep your head up, keep moving forward, because with God, nothing is going to take you from off that path that you're walking with him, and it'll make you stronger, and the motivation will become stronger as well. So I was listening to the book this week. I have the audio just because of work purposes. I like to just listen to it, and the subconscious gets more than you think. So basically, between the two chapters, it's talking about communication, body language. I've heard when I went to Tony Robbins about the body language thing. It's like when you're talking to somebody in person, you want to literally copy what they're doing, because as you copy them, they're not even realizing it, but they get more connected with the person that they're talking to, because y'all are doing the exact same thing, as in different like hand signs or like movements, because a lot of people talk with their hands just to show on how like they're emphasizing something. So just body language, once you get that down, the communication with somebody that you don't even know can become easy, and you'll get more comfortable with that. And then also like in speeches, I remember at the event Tyrone was talking about this, and we had a little mastermind after the event, and he was saying that when you pause on words, it's like you grab people's attention more, because they're like, oh, what's next? So just realizing like having good pauses, but also keeping the attention of your audience, because if you're talking about something that they don't care, you can lose them real quick. So you need to have something, a hook, and as I would say, for content purposes, because a hook grabs people like a fish. When you throw your fishing line out, you hook the fish and it's on, unless it gets away. So when you're starting like a conversation or something, you want to have something to where they can hook onto and continue to connect with you and have that conversation. And then just being true to who you are, because people like authenticity. So don't like be away from who you are, because like he was saying, this guy was a comedian, or like somebody was on stage and he was trying to say a joke, and he wasn't a comedian, so he lost all his audience, and it was just like a weird silence, awkward silence. So he just had to find a way to get back on track and move on to grab his audience again. And I would say that like Tony Robbins event really is a good way of explaining this and showcasing that keeping your audience in tune with everything is the most important. Like he'll talk a while for a little bit, and then all of a sudden it's all right, get up, raise the roof, get hyped, they play music, and everybody just start jumping, having a great time. And then he's lock back into what he was talking about or the next topic, because when you do something completely different, people's minds begin to change real quick into, okay, I need to actually start paying attention again because everybody else is doing it. So why would I not be the only one doing it? So I think that's a really good example of like the events that I've been to. Just like even TG Jakes was saying, he was like, the good way to keep people in tune and connected with what you're talking about in between different topics is playing music. Like even at church, people and the church, like they play music to get you connected at first, and then they go into the word, and then after the word they get you back into the music and worship. So that's what I got from it. Just stay connected with the people you're talking about and talking to as an audience, to not lose them and to actually get the full message out without working too hard to get it out. It should be a smooth sail. And as I go and continue to do Zooms like this and talking on camera, I've learned a lot about not rushing into what I'm saying, like taking my time, because as you rush into saying things and talking, you begin to stutter. And I used to stutter a lot because I was shy to even talk on camera or talk to somebody in person. So as you get more confident with that, you begin to do the pauses that you need to, and keep that attention of your audience or people you're talking about. But that's what I got. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna take it and use it, because with the presentations that I'm gonna have to be doing coming up real soon, your boy gotta really lock in and take over, because I'm gonna be on stage one day. Quit playing. Like,
He said, "I'll drop the mic." And a good one. What's poppin', y'all? It's good to see everybody. Shout out those who actually read. You know what I'm saying? Shout out those who are here, even though you didn't read. It's all good. You know what I'm saying? As long as you are enthused, plugged in. My suggestion is to go and read the book, though. Like, this book is absolutely amazing and provides a lot of insight on what we're all attempting to do. And at the end of the day, what matters most, and that's just communication. If I'm keeping it very honest, open, and transparent, like I said at the very beginning of this book, I feel like we as a squad struggle a little bit on transparently communicating and having some tough conversations. But if you understand how to convey and utilize your words, you understand how to listen and seek to understand before being understood, and then you actually construct your words in a manner that someone can actually receive what you're saying, not just hear the words that you're saying, then real change and growth can occur and happen. So first things first, I apologize about the chapters on the events. I just fixed them, so we're good to go. Next week, if you already read chapter 10, you're ahead of the game. My guess is a lot of people haven't read chapter 10. So next week we'll do chapters 10 and 11. And throughout the rest of the month, we'll finish with chapter 15 before the beginning of March when we start our next book. So just want to let you know all that is updated. I apologize if you missed chapter 8. Go and reread that. I'm going to point out some things that stood out to me when I was reading it. But one of the dopest things that he said, again, I just love the quotes at the beginning of the chapter, but he quoted John Maxwell. People may hear your words, but they feel your attitude. So understanding that delivery is everything, period. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're saying something that's beneficial to somebody, especially if it's with some love behind it and it's kind of a difficult conversation to have, just know that every component of communication matters. So he talks about your appearance, your mannerisms, your tone, your inflection, and body language will be either working for you or against you. You will either be confirming what you're communicating or distracting viewers by the dissonance of your disconnection. So if you don't understand what the word dissonance means, it's essentially what he explained as a disconnection. So you're conveying a message, and if you're conveying a message with urgency and a seriousness, but you're talking like this, and you're trying to get your point across and you're light toned, ain't no one gonna listen to the amount of urgency that you're trying to convey in the message that you give. There's a disconnect and it doesn't make sense in someone's head. The same is also true if you're trying to speak with somebody who receives information in a different language than you're used to, and you just go out and attack their jugular. They're not going to receive it. They're going to feel attacked and victimized. So you've got to understand exactly who you're speaking with, and body language is the most outward expression of someone's true thoughts. It's absolutely amazing. I'm not going to lie to you. If you guys get good at just talking less and observing more, you are going to really understand what someone feels or how someone actually stands on a certain topic before they even speak. It's been a superpower that trust and believe Mikkel and I literally talk about all the time. Like we literally talk about this all the time. Whenever you see us in a room, we might be locked in on a conversation. I know you guys have people whenever we're in a one-on-one or in a group having a convo, but if you peep how I be peeping, I be looking at this man, Mikhail, and I know I embody a lot of the same stuff. You'll literally see us just observing and catching the energy of the room so that we can either meet it or we can raise it, just like Josh was talking about with Tony Robbins setting the pace. Even as I'm gonna say outlandish I can be sometimes, like there's a reason why after lunch we came back in and we just damned to some music and got up and started dancing in terms of unlimited is because like you've got to energy is required, and as Josh was saying, you got to switch it up. So anyways, in chapter 8 he also talks about your body language, your physical presence, your voice variations, and speech patterns provide extraordinary opportunities to enhance, reinforce, and embellish your message. So you've got to take those, he compared it to herbs and spices. So you've got to put some flavor in what you're saying and what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Personally, I don't like bland chicken. In fact, I'd be giving people a hard time about it. Shout out my boy Don. But uh, I liked flavored food, you know what I'm saying? And most people, when they're sitting there and they're listening to you, it's got to be intriguing enough so that they actually get the message across. Otherwise, you're going to lose their attention and it's not going to make sense. And then the last thing I want to touch on in terms of that chapter, there's so much in chapter 8. I'm sorry, y'all. Yeah, the last thing I'm going to touch on is kind of a two-part. So he talks about pace. Pace refers not necessarily to the speed of your speech, but to the way you move through your message. And this was a different kind of perspective for me. I've never really thought of it in that light. But when you really think about it, it's absolutely amazing because he explained that the pace of your delivery depends on the length of time you're allocated to speak and the amount of information you wish to disseminate in that time span. So like being mindful of like what to hold on to, what not to hold on to, in terms of actually conveying the message you want your audience to receive comes down to not just the speed, but like the flow. If it's really choppy and you get your thought processes kind of what's the word I'm looking for? If you get the process, if you get the thought process kind of scrambled in your brain and you go from one topic to the next, and then you go back to the topic, like there's no real flow there. And if you feel confused talking about it, I promise you they might feel confused listening to it as well. So one, how do you get better with that? Your rhythm and tempo comes with repetition. And as he talked about, the use of body language is both an art form and a skill, which means you can improve, but it requires experience for you to grow. So that's why, again, Amber, shout out you for saying it. I really love that we have a space for people to participate and learn how to conversate online and as well as like in front of others so that you can deliver your message and make the most out of it because it's truly your greatest asset. If you understand that you can paint a picture in someone else's mind utilizing your words and the way that you deliver it, you can literally move people into action. You can move people closer to their dreams and goals, and you can help people understand exactly the truth behind what they're facing, what they're going through, so that they can make a change and a decision that works best for them. You know, I'm not just talking about direct sales, network marketing, MRR. None of that. I'm really talking about like how is somebody living their life and how are you helping them recognize what it is that they're doing. Before I go into chapter 9, because I feel like a lot of people touched on chapter 9 and no one really read chapter 10, so I'm really not going to touch much on chapter 9. I wanted to get some points across from chapter 8 because it's a big part of what it is we do. I chopped it up with my dad yesterday, y'all, and my pops has been going through a season. For those who know, he got laid off, as most of the country is experiencing, with a change, on the economy and the difficulties it is to maintain certain roles that are now getting replaced by AI and technology. So as we're living in this new era, there's a lot of people who are getting left behind and being like they're being conflicted and infected with a mindset of anxiety and depression, because people don't know what to do or where to go, and it causes for inaction. So anyways, I say all that to say my pops got a new job yesterday, but even in the midst of doing that, his main conversation and talking point about that was how much anxiety he had on Monday and on Tuesday, and how he really didn't do anything and that he felt bad for not communicating with me, or whatever the case was. And I told him, I'm like, hey, Pop, I'm going through a season as well. Exactly. God is great. And I'm glad that he blessed you with a job. Yet I still wanted to convey a message to my pops that I really hope and pray that one day he fully walks in the faith that he believes in, because he's killing himself. There's actual chemical responses in your body that come as a byproduct of stress, anxiety, and worry. It's literally called cortisol. So if you don't know much about it, you can go look up the effects of cortisol. But this type of chemical in your body helps keep you alive in areas and scenarios where you have to be in survival mode. It helps us with the fight and flight. It helps us with the actual rest and digest type of responses that we have as human beings. And I was telling my dad, because he never really asked any questions about my situation or what it is I've got going on. I just listened. I sought to understand where he was coming from rather than being understood of what it is I was facing, so that he could know that, hey, Pop, do you see how God moved in your favor? And on Monday and Tuesday, when you were riddled with anxiety and sadness and worry and frustration, that come the end of the week, you had exactly what you needed? I just asked him the question. And he definitely understood. My point is, I had to flow through the use of my words and literally speak in a pace and a tone and an inflection behind the message I was giving, so that I could portray to my dad like how important it is to really walk in what God wants, not what he wants. And that if he puts aside his feelings based upon what's going on in the worldly situations and he holds on to the promises that are given in the spiritual situations, then he will literally have a peace that goes beyond understanding, and that he'll be amazed. He'll be not just amazed, but grateful for everything in every situation he's in, because he knows that God is with him, not forsaking him. Period. So I really just brought that up so that you guys can understand, like, as you guys help people understand different ways of thinking and concepts, this is important. What he talks about is important. Your tone is everything. Your inflection is everything. It's not just the word choices, but how fast are you speaking? Are you allowing people in the pregnant of the pause to digest what you're actual saying? So, yeah, I think the only thing I really wanted to touch on from chapter 9 was that silence is a language unto itself. So if you sit there and you allow people to be like to really think, then you have another superpower that you can utilize to help get your message across. This is something I learned in closing. Shout out Matt Morris, because he's made me a cold piece. I'm not gonna lie, but sincerely, y'all, like whenever you ask the question, shut up and stop talking. Like if you just shut up and you allow people to take what you said and then process it and then respond, you won't overload them with information or different perspectives. I know sometimes we get into this persuading game or excuse me, convincing game. Selling is not convincing, selling is persuading, as Myron Golden talks about. And if you can show people exactly what it is that they want and where they're at and where they need to go, then you can use silence as your ally to really get the pauses and allow individuals to one, stay in tune with your message, because you can add those cliffhangers, you can add those areas where if you have a gem and you drop that thing and you just take a second, it might click in someone else's head like, oh, snap, boy, that's different. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, yeah, I didn't want to touch on a lot of chapter 9 because I know a lot of people have or will. But yeah, y'all go read chapter 8 for favor. I feel like once you guys understand that part, you guys can be more self-aware. And then as you, one, as leaders are helping resolve conflict, helping guide, helping lead other individuals along their journeys, you can deliver those messages in an effective way that shows love and respect all at the same time. So that being said, love you guys. I appreciate it. Yeah, and I'm gonna pass this thing over to Mikael. You got the floor, my guy. I can't hear you. Or is it just me? I'm about to have a good day, no matter what they say.
We can't hear you.
Bro, we can't hear you at all. I read your lips though. Talk about a pause.
What about now?
Smooth.
Okay, cool.
Oh, now it's gone. That's weird. I was thinking in my head, what if it's the headphone? And it was.
Oh,
All right, you're good now.
I'm good now. All right, cool. That's crazy. So I don't know what's different at all because right now I don't even have a microphone selected on my Zoom account. And when it was gone, I had an AirPod in. When I put the AirPod in, but it's not connected to the AirPod because I hear y'all connected out of my computer, but y'all can hear me. So it's all good. You can hear me loud and clear.
Yeah, like the
That's
best I've ever heard, honestly. I'm not gonna lie, for a minute.
well, I'm not gonna touch anything on the computer. So what's up, y'all? You know what I'm saying? I got some things up so I can't see anybody's face, but well, I can see Marcus, Josh, Andrew, and Austin. So what's up, boys? And I can see Chi-Town in the corner. But with that though, um, throw a goat emoji in the chat for that man Marcus because he just snapped. Throw a rocket emoji for that man Josh because he just snapped. Man, throw a prayer hands emoji for that man Austin. And definitely throw a flower emoji for Amber. Shout out to everybody who's spoken so far as well, because all y'all, one, shout out to that man Austin for literally being living proof of God's greatness. Shout out to a whole squad and everything they've spoken about because, whoa, I'm not gonna lie, everybody been snapping this morning. And this book has definitely been different. And so as I was like just breezing through my notes, everybody hit everything on because I definitely slacked and looked it up. Okay, we got to read chapter 9 and 10, went to the book, went to contents because I knew I'd already checked chapter 8, read chapters 9 and 10. So I was looking at 8 as Marcus was going over it. And I think, Marcus, you just did an amazing job at communicating all that as well. And shout out to Pops. Literally, big shout out to Pops. He made it through that season of getting through that. And like, that is what it's about, period. You know what I'm saying? Even though we may falter in the process, even though we may get stressed out in the process, God is good all the time. And if you ask for it, he will come in the nick of time, period. So big shout out to that man. I'm going to touch on chapter 10 now, because I ain't going to lie to y'all. Chapter 10 was fire. And it's crazy that that was on there because I don't know if that was just for me or whatever, but like this last 7 days, y'all, have definitely been me stepping into the respect and respecting my trailblazers of my life, and it's been wild. So there was one bar he had in there, and I'm trying to find the actual page it was on, but he just talked about flirting. There's so much he covered in chapter 10, y'all, and I cannot wait for you guys to talk about this, but I'm just going ahead and trailblaze my way on through chapter 10 and let y'all know what you can expect for this week. But he talked about, let's consider ways to respect the repertoire of tour guides, as well as flirt with the ferocious freedom of those who blaze their own trails.
Sure.
And then later on in the chapter, he said that trailblazer spirit usually terrifies the people that are trying to hide. And it's crazy because I had a conversation with Chi-Town, who's on this call as well. Big shout out Chi-Town, supplying the vibes in the beginning of the call. But I had to talk with her yesterday, and it was just about, I think it was yesterday. We've been talking so much, but it was just about my family. And my family, I come from a bloodline on both sides of trailblazers. I come from a bloodline of people who have literally gone on to create massive success in a whole lot of different areas. And one, especially in the entertainment and music area and the business area. And so in this process of my years, I was telling Chi-Town, like, yo, I had my years of like rebelling against my family spirit and like everybody I was related to and the connections that I have, because I just wanted to create my own story, be my own man, like have my own recognition for my last name versus being asked, am I related to somebody else? And in this process, one, shout out God because I have, but also two, like I realized that there was moments that it was robbing me of something deep in my spirit rather than giving me something. And so really like a few years ago, I just made the decision, like, you know what? I want my family life to look completely different. Hey, baby. And I wrote it on a card. I think that card is somewhere around my person right now, but I don't know exactly where it is. So I'm not going to try and find it. But I just wrote on a gold card when I was at Journey in 2021. And I was like, man, me and my family are going to grow closer together. I'm going to be more involved in family events. I'm going to get to know my family better. We're going to fellowship together. We're going to learn together. We're going to grow together. And it was like a declaration that I made that I was literally terrified because, bro, my brothers and I, we barely talk. We all live in the same state. My parents and I, we've definitely had crazy relationships. And then their parents have just like not really been all that present throughout life as well. So I really have never had that deep of a relationship with them. But it's because I haven't taken the time to cultivate it even as I've become an adult. And so when I looked at the trailblazers in my life, I was like, yo, screw what they did. I got to do me. And instead of just utilizing what they have done and understanding that they had dreams once and then they went and accomplished those and learning from those people, having access to those people and actually utilizing my resources and relationships to be able to help me go and accomplish exactly what they did, by doing that, I just was doing the opposite. And the day that I decided to stop and I actually respected the repertoire of my life tour guides, everything started to change piece by piece and little by little. And in this past week, I've like really stepped into like where the majority of my family holds all of their success into the music space, as we've now started to promote this tour. If y'all don't know, Roaring 20s tour, y'all gonna hear some vibes about it coming this week. We got something special coming just for TGF, but also we're doing a tour all over the country. And first stop is going to be here in Minnesota. And as I've gone to start setting up the things, it's like I've seen an overwhelming response of support. I've seen an overwhelming, like honestly, availability of an opportunity for us to really, one, capitalize here, but also two, impact a lot of lives here, impact an entire generation here. So I've seen a way to trailblaze by following and accessing and calling all of my life tour guides. And it's been crazy because I've had to grow into a space of like a different level of respect, a different lens of perspective. But in that change, it definitely helped me go on to the next level and turn my fire on a little bit and help me get there. But truth be told, if you guys are on this call, that means 9.9 times out of 10, you are a trailblazer, period. And as a trailblazer, there's two different types of trailblazers that he really talked about. He talked about, I don't even know how to say these words, but docent, Docent, or it looks like Delante. I don't know, Dilanante, but Dilletante. I don't know how to pronounce the word. Look them up, but it's literally the title of the section. But the difference is the first one, a docent, is really a person of a like specialized knowledge. We all read Think and Grow Rich. They are a person with specialized knowledge about a certain subject, but also are well versed in other subjects. Dylan, the other one, the Dill, let's just call him Doke and Dill. So Dill is a person who has generalized knowledge over a whole bunch of different things. And when it comes down to it, like he ended up meeting, or excuse me, I'm gonna just read it. In the broadest sense, a doc is an expert willing to teach, tutor, and guide others in specific areas of interest. They typically serve on a voluntary basis and have direct experience related to their area of expertise. While the latter is just a person who generally knows everything. And as I was reading that, I was like, ooh, this is a bar for the squad and the leaders who are on this call. Here's the thing that majority of people at the naked eye, before they really like take time to actually ask the real questions and understand, here's what majority of people think about TGF. They think that we are all dopes. I'm gonna just, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna clear up some things really quick. So they think that we are all, or excuse me, not dopes, dills, that we all have generalized knowledge about everything that happens here in I Am Mastery Academy or everything else that we're doing instead of specialized knowledge. And a few weeks ago, we literally told everybody, yo, you got to pick a lane, pick a niche here. And the reason that we told people that is because of what he talks about in this book. He gave the illustration of he was in London doing a speaking engagement, and at the speaking engagement, he gets on a tour because he's always wanted to see all these things. He grew up watching Sherlock Holmes and 007. So he's like, yo, I got all the sites I want to see. He gets on the tour bus, and the guy who's the tour guide on the tour bus, you can tell that he's literally reading a script. Like the whole time, reading a script. And it's like, yo, I literally read these things in the tour guide that I had in my room before I hopped on the bus. So like, he was like, yo, first stop, he got off the bus and let the bus leave and took a cab back to the hotel. He's seen his hosts that were hosting him in London, and he was like, man, I'm not gonna lie, it was honestly a frustrating experience. Did not get what I was expecting at all whatsoever. Didn't even go through the rest of the tour. They're like, don't worry, we're gonna take care of you. Just wake up tomorrow, come to the lobby. He goes to the lobby. He meets a dope. This dope has specialized knowledge in the UK's like basically implants of South Africa, but also very well known throughout the entire city. So he takes TD Jakes on this entire tour of the city. Has great conversation, allows time to really ask questions, figure out exactly what he wants. And he understands that, like, yo, this man really knows what he's talking about. And he has an amazing experience going throughout. While learning about everything, he also got the specialized knowledge that he needs. And as we go forward in business as leaders, like we all have our area of specialized knowledge that we know that we have, but we are so shiny object syndrome focused and we have so much that it causes us to be confused and sit in action. And I believe that if you really like, instead of being the tour guide who just does the exact same thing every day, the exact same way every day, I think that if you choose to take some real steps and get to a dope, which is a step below a professor in the higher education sense over in the UK, if you choose to at least just go get to that level of specialized knowledge, I believe this is the lesson he was really trying to drive home. You can go hit a whole new level of an experience, a life experience, a success experience, and everything. You just really got to go for it, period. you got to be the one to trailblaze. Like he had to get off of the bus. Then he had to have the uncomfortable conversation of telling the people that were hosting him, like, yo, I actually did not have a good time on that tour. How many of y'all would have got off the tour and been like, yeah, I had a tour today. It was cool. Instead of having the wrong conversation, or excuse me, the raw conversation. Then he had to also meet somebody, trust somebody enough. And then once he realized, whoa, this person is sitting down, asking me the right questions, asking me about my goals, asking me about my why, asking me about the inspirations that really brought me to actually want to see these things, because he knows. Therefore, he can bring me to see all of the sites that I want to see and do it the right way. That's why I call myself a really good tour guide when y'all come up here to Minnesota, because I'm not your average guy. You can just book online, and I'm gonna give you an experience and figure out exactly what you want to see. Like, it's just different. And so I believe that as a trailblazer, when you really, one, just respect the tour guide for what they do, but also be willing to blaze a trail, you end up creating a whole different type of life. And as we are, one, in this book club, but also two, all in business together, I just think that we all should really commit to being trailblazers. Like, reason why big shouted out Austin for the prayer hands, because yesterday he had a trailblazing moment where he was like, yo, I am not about to be a tour guide right now and sit and listen to somebody else talk. I'm about to get up and I'm about to blaze a trail. And he created a whole different experience. TD Jakes did the exact same thing. Marcus has done the exact same thing. All of you guys, Donnie has done the exact same thing when it comes to him speaking and working on himself. He said, you know what, I'm not going to continue to just be a tour guide in my own life and continue to do the same thing over and over again. I'm going to work on myself. I'm going to put myself in the rooms. I'm going to go get better when it comes to speaking. Like, be a trailblazer about your life. And I'm just excited for y'all to really get through this chapter, because as I was reading it and as I was going through these life things and the differences in how I made a decision changed everything this past week. And it's been hard, but it's been crazy. So my bad for taking a little bit of time. You know what I'm saying? I was just in my vibe and chapter 10 hit home. So can't wait for y'all to read it. But I think it's to Austin at this point. It was like Chi-Town wants to go. Or not.
Sorry, 1 second, I'm driving. I'm trying to find where I'm going right now, so I'm a little distracted at the moment. So my fault.
It's okay. It's us being.
I can help you find where you're going. To the top.
Oh, my
To
God.
the top, because the bottom is way too crowded.
God.
Oh, last thing I definitely. Oh, my fault, Marcus. I ain't even see that, bro. I ain't even see that. I did do you wrong right there. I ain't even peep. One thing I also wanted to touch on that's also in chapter 10, because he snapped. He said, he brought up Jesus, and he was like, yo, so as a trailblazer, like, people will not understand, and it's okay. When you are pioneering a new path, that's just what it is. And as your truth, your message, like, there's going to be some people that are in denial. There's going to be some people that just don't understand it. There's going to be some people that might hate on what you're doing, whatever. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. In entrepreneurship, it's one of the hardest things to battle, is when people, like, quote unquote, don't support you and, like, don't really like what you're doing, yet you're around them. And I'm going to just read y'all what Jesus said real quick. Hold on. Let me just go back to the picture. So Jesus said, if the world hates you, he told his followers this, because Jesus knew the result and considered it not only unavoidable, but a positive indicator, like when things go bad and when people be hating, but a positive indicator of the gospel message in a hostile world. He told his followers, if the world hates you, keep in mind it hated me first. If you belong to the world, it would love you as its own. As it is, you do not belong to the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, and that is why the world hates you. That's John 15, verses 18 through 19. And it's real life. Like, as a trailblazer, you're going to make some people upset. Austin, whenever you're ready, you're going to get some people who hate. You know what I'm saying? You're going to get some people who might lie on you and try and say you've done things that you ain't do. But Jesus said, hey, yo, you are headed in the right direction. I promise. I chose you for more. Keep on going, because God got you. Period. I know there might be some people who lay you off, but it's okay. Keep going because I got you. Period. I know there'd be some people who don't know how to drive, and then all of a sudden they bust up your trailer, and you're looking at it like, whoa, could have been my truck, but it's all good. You know what I'm saying? No matter what. But God said, keep going. I got you. No matter what, you're headed in the right direction. These are good signs. Marcus has been with me every day for 3 years, literally. And I've told this man, bro, every time something bad happens, I'm like, yo, coming next, bro. Like, this is a sign we're headed in the right direction. There's been consistent things trying to just get in our way. Consistent. Life is a freaking whirlwind. That's been our little jam over the last 48 hours. But at the same time, like, God just says, keep going. Jesus said, yo, it's on purpose. You are in purpose. Keep on moving forward, press forward, work harder. That's really my thing. I'm like, all right, bet. So when bad things happen, thank God. When good things happen, thank God. Period. It's all part of this life experience. But I was trying to kill some time before my man Austin got to where he was going with that last little piece.
I want to say real quick, I really appreciate everyone's transparency when it comes to not reading the book. That goes a long way, especially it welcomes other people to not have to be perfect. So like when we don't read and we still show up, it counts. So love y'all for that.
Hey, that's real life.
But to add to that, quit playing yourselves. Read the book. I love y'all.
Literally. Because, it don't matter if while we're jamming out the music for 20 minutes, you go through and just read at least a chapter and a half. Like, go through it and do it. You know what I'm saying? We've all had those moments. You know what I'm saying? It's all ball. First person to be talking, you still back there reading on your phone because you got the book.
The book is free. Yeah, the book is free on the phone, y'all. That's what I'm saying. I don't.
Right. But, we're always going to push you to be better.
Well, I mean, D,
no,
if you want to go, bro, people talk. So you got the floor.
Oh, snap.
Let
Andrew.
Austin get his thing together. And I don't know where Kelsey went, but she was on here, I thought.
I don't remember. What's up, D?
What's poppin'? Yeah, I did not read it this week. But what y'all are talking about kind of made me have a little, was it analogy? No, I don't think it's an analogy. It's a comparison? No.
Epiphany?
Revelation.
I think so. It's kind of like how
Understanding.
you know how ESPN analysts, when they try to, how they are on air, and kind of like content creators, you know how like they're kind of like more, once the either red light comes on or the play button starts, they're more, and then once it stops, they're like, okay, like I'm chilling now. It's just they're trying to get their either point across, or you know how when analysts talk about who's the best player in the world and they come out of nowhere and say X.
Whoa.
Be very on point about not saying like being very in flow state on what their statement's gonna be.
Yeah.
And so I feel like analysts are
Like Stephen A. when he talks about the Cowgirls.
I haven't heard any of those yet, but I'll look those up.
Josh.
But yeah, like everybody knows Stephen A. He don't hate the Cowboys, but the way he talks about them, like it gets everybody boiling because the way you hear his tone, the way he's talking about the Cowboys, because you think that he hates them, but he really don't. But he's just talking in that tone to make it seem like he hates them, just to get everybody wired up. And I think like analysts and TV people have to get like this book very really get it down to the T, because I feel like when you're even going from an NFL player to being trying to be an analysis to have some sort of income, and football players don't really, study that on how to talk. They just study their sport they're in. And so like when they're retired and now they're trying to find a source of income, they got to really like dial in on that just to be like in that flow state. Because you cannot be like, say if I went on air I'm gonna be like, yeah, well, and like just very not professional in flow state. So I think whenever y'all were talking about that, that's like a so what is that I brought up? Analogy? No, that's not an analogy. What is that? I don't know. But English was not my forte class, so I don't know any of that. But that I feel like I haven't done no presentation in an example. Okay, yeah, I think so. I haven't done a presentation in a minute. So I feel like when I do my next one, like it's gonna be a little rocky, but it's just kind of like if you've been in the gym for X amount of years, you take a break and you get back in it, it's just gonna come back to you like that. So Donnie, I feel like Donnie is the best example about um communicating because like he said in the beginning, he was very just mumbling, talking very low. You're like, what did you say, Donnie? Like, what? Can you say it again? And the way he talks now, he slowed it down, and you could hear like in his tone, like the way he's talking more about not confident, but he's talking more at flow state and not like trying to think about what he needs to say next. So kudos to you, Donnie, if you're listening. I don't know if you're asleep, but kudos to you. But I think that was one of the examples that really came to mind about communicating, getting your points across. So Austin, you Gucci Johnson?
Yes,
And
sir.
are we
I'm
still
ready.
doing that call after this,
I'm ready now.
Betty?
I
Go ahead.
believe we are. So
Matt.
yeah. Anyway, sorry y'all. I was taking my sister to her soccer game, and my mom likes the backseat drive, so she was being a little overwhelming. And my sister doesn't know anything about the situation that happened over the last 2 days, so we're trying to keep it that way. So I couldn't really talk at the time, but um, yeah. So honestly, I got a big lesson in communication over the last couple of days, and really how to effectively deliver your message. Because for those of you who know, um, I honestly, one of the biggest things that I used to struggle with too is like really slowing down and not trying to talk too fast. Um, because obviously there's a point where you can do that if you're trying to like get people excited or, um, you're trying to hype somebody up or whatever. But there's also, like we said, a time and a place for that. Um, and really what I learned is that, well, I guess I've known it for a while, but if you can if you can make a person feel what you're saying, they are going to understand it and resonate with it more. So, I just really had to, especially yesterday, um, I had to slow down because I am an emotional human being sometimes. And I just had to take my emotions out of it, be objective about what I was trying to communicate, not get flustered about, certain variables that I could not control. Um, and just like I believe Marcus and Mikhail both said it, maybe other people did. I apologize if I didn't catch it, but read the room, you know what I mean? And just understand who you're talking to, um, who's really listening, because I know there were some people yesterday that were not really listening, which is all right. But it's just I don't know, from watching, obviously I'm not the most seasoned talker as like or communicator at like as far as presentations or um, running calls or anything like that. But we've gotten better. I definitely was like Josh when I first started, and I did not do very well. I stuttered a lot, said a lot. I still do sometimes, and just I don't know. The hardest thing for me was just really slowing down my thought process to be able to really, like I said before, effectively communicate what I'm trying to communicate so that people understand it the way that I want them to understand it, and so the message doesn't get confused. See, there I go again. I need to eliminate those two
those two letters in that order out of my vocabulary. So no, I appreciate all the support too yesterday or over these last couple of days. Just wanted to say that first and foremost, and that I believe and fully believe that everybody in this call, in this squad, has the ability to be a leader and an effective communicator. I just think that a lot of, myself included, a lot of the issue to why we're not at the level that we might want to be at is lack of preparation, lack of work, and just lack of repetition. So, if you want to be an effective communicator, if you really want to learn how to communicate with people in a more fluid and put in the reps, you got to learn how to do that from, books like this. I know I've been slacking on the reading department, but I will be better. So I appreciate all of you for listening. I don't know if anybody else has to go. Don't believe so, unless Tia. So you trying to go, girl?
Bye, guys. I gotta go.
Bye, Amber. Anybody else? No? Am I passing this to somebody? Marcus, Mikhail, anybody?
Mommy.
Hi.
Hello, Brooklyn.
Brooklyn was like, "Is that Austin, Mom?" I was like, "Yeah, that's Austin."
Brooklyn.
They're jumping away. Y'all, I was trying to read during this whole thing. Pure chaos up here at all times. I'm like, anytime I'm not doing anything important, then I feel like they're quiet. But as soon as I have something to do that's important, they're right up in my face wanting me to do stuff. So I couldn't focus exactly. But yeah, Mikhail, Marcus, are y'all closing it out or what are y'all doing? Both your cameras are off.
Hey, you better hop off me, T.
Huh?
You better hop off me, T. I read, all
You're
right?
the one who still has your tree up
I
in
read.
February.
All right, anyways, I'm just kidding.
You
I
still
love
have
you
your
all.
tree up in February.
I appreciate everybody. Yeah, I'm over here trying to survive. You gotta get off me. Okay, anyway. Coming at my jugular this morning. Dang. Okay, regardless of the fact, appreciate everybody hopping on, sharing some information. Next week, chapter 10 and 11, all the events are updated. I promise. They're in there. So those chapters are the right ones. And yeah, man, hope y'all have a good rest of y'all Saturday. Much love to you. Stay blessed. And we'll see you next week. For those who know the vibes, stay at the top. Mom's way to got it. Peace, fam.
Are we staying on here?